A former DeKalb County paramedic had one goal this week: climb Stone Mountain. And that would be a tough assignment for many of us, but consider 5 years ago, Willie Myers became a paraplegic.
Once we really do understand that everyone struggles, everyone has challenges that they have to overcome, we start to realize that everyone has a heart, that everyone has a soul, that we're all humans, that we're all fighting for something. And Willie speaks to that. He speaks to that voice inside of us that says, hey, maybe you should just give up. Or maybe you can't actually do this thing. If I put one foot in front of the other, I will get to the top. I will climb that mountain. And no one's stopping me.
It was back in 2017. Henry and I were working on a boat in Key West, Florida. And as a part of this program called Sailing for Soldiers, a man named Willie Myers comes down. There's already a huge manatee next to our boat.
There's two in the front, good.
Do you see him?
We stopped to see him.
Very nice.
I remember Captain Shannon telling us that, like, hey, this is going to be a really big deal for Willie. He hasn't been on the water since his accident back in 2014.
What we saw was a man who was in a wheelchair and struggling to walk. And we saw someone who didn't see himself that way. He saw himself as someone that was full of life. What do we got there?
Some chocolate dip key lime pie on a stick. So I don't really know how they do it, but it's key lime pie.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy. You got key lime pie. I just finished one. So
Willie
key lime pie dipped in chocolate is a different concept altogether. So I was assigned to the Ambassador's Protection Detail in Iraq from 2005 until 2008. Where I then shortly after was transferred to the U.S. Embassy in Kabul, Afghanistan. And I spent from 2008 until 2014 in Afghanistan, the majority of the time assigned to the Ambassador's Detail.
We're driving over to the bottom of the mountain where everyone is waiting for him. There's a couple news stations there, old friends, old firefighter friends. And I could feel it on him. He was ready.
The impact that your story had on me at the time that, it's bound to happen. You're a node right now. You're like in a funny way, a center point.
Yeah.
Right? What an amazing.
All right, so I tell you what, I'll use some support. Whoever wants me.
Okay.
2 years ago when we saw him in Key West, he could barely stand up. So it was hard for me to understand how this guy in that period of time had evolved to the point where he was about to summit a mountain. And still, I was not going to miss the chance to see it.
Normal, beautiful day. Once a week I'd do a, what I called was a PT swim. I'd drive down to Tel Aviv and I would do a 200-meter swim. Hop in the water. There was a rock face just off the beach outside the U.S. Embassy that I would swim to. Kind of rest there for about a minute or so, hop back in the water, swim another 100 meters back to the beach. This particular day I got out in the water, and the water was more choppier than usual. But I started my swim and I got about 70 meters out and I said, you know what, I'm not gonna chance it today. Started swimming back. The current was strong enough that it pushed me up against a buoy line, so I grabbed a hold of buoy line and started pulling myself back to shore. And I got about 30 feet from shoreline. I could actually touch the bottom of the ocean floor when I got hit by an undertow. And as I went under, another wave came crashing down on top of me and slammed the back of my head on the ocean floor. And when they pulled me out of the water, I was in cardiac arrest. And waking up, and I remember my nose was itching. And it felt like my hands were on my chest, but when I looked down, my hands were by my side. And I tried to move my hands up, and nothing. And then I tried to, I looked down at my toes and tried to move my toes, and nothing happened. And that's when I knew something was bad.
We get about halfway up and it starts to kind of take a turn. Willie's energy is clearly really low and he's having to take a lot of stops.
I tell you what, let me go down a little bit. I'm gonna lay back. All right, let me just lean back. You guys watch me so I don't slide down.
Okay, gotcha. Put your foot behind his heel. Stand behind his heel, there you go. So he can stop his body on you.
Maybe, right up in here, yeah.
This is the time I think it was so important for him to have people around him that were pushing him and driving him forward. He really had to look within, I think, in that moment and find a fresh motivation, like a spark to really push forward. And he did, and he kept climbing.
And every step that this guy took was a meaningful step. Every step he took was purposeful.
How could I be that father if I'm, quadriplegic? How can I, braid my daughter's hair? How can I throw a football to my son, How can I be the person that they expected me to be if I'm unable to provide, if I'm unable to be a father? I had no idea what I was going to tell them. You're nothing. Everything that you've known, everything that you've worked hard for, everything that you're a part of was taken from you. How do you deal with that? There was a time that I thought about getting in my wheelchair, I had a motorized wheelchair, and I would go around my neighborhood just to kind of get out and get fresh air. And there was a major road just outside my subdivision. And I thought, what if I just rolled my chair up and waited for a truck to come around the corner, and I just rolled my chair out in front of it. So, number one, that would have sucked. I would have left my kids wondering why. So you can listen to the sounds in your head. You can listen to what you think is around you and what you think is the best way of dealing with something. It could be totally wrong. So you fight.
Oh, you got it. There we go. Hey.
Ready?
Hey. Awesome. Let's go right here. Got it. All right, hang tight. Let me sit up. Let me stand. Get my core up.
Yep, take your time.
Got this.
I don't see anything other than making it to the top. No, it's one step at a time. This isn't about me. There are going to be people who I don't know who are going to hear about this. Hundreds, if not thousands, of people who I have never met who may hear about this story. and it may affect them in a way that helps them or helps somebody that they know who may be going through their challenge. Well, what did I just do? I climbed a freaking rock. Yeah, it was my own, goal in itself, but in doing so, I possibly helped out many others who are going through their own challenges. So there in itself, is a blessing.
Good.
After my accident, my first goal was to stand at my daughter's high school graduation in 2017.
All right, guys, Saturday. No, it's Friday. Jeez, what am I talking about? It's not Saturday yet, the weekend. All right, so doing a little walking today.
2018, my goal was to take unassisted steps. When I was a firefighter in DeKalb County here in Georgia after 9/11, there's a park that a lot of Atlanta area firefighters would come to. It's Stone Mountain. And in memory of the 343 firefighters that died on 9/11, we would be in full turnout gear, Scott pack, hose, tool, whatever the case may be. And we would walk up, we called it a climb, but it's more of a walk up Stone Mountain, which is roughly about a mile up. This right now is my Mount Kilimanjaro. My goal and my intention is to get at the top, one step at a time. Stone Mountain is mine, and that's how I'm looking at it.
Great job. All right. Let's go to the left, guys. Okay. Watch your step. It's a little slippery.
Sorry.
Don't be. Take your time.
You want to take what I'm feeling right now? You can have it.
Yeah, that was dicey.
He keeps pushing on, refusing to give up. The man refused to accept anything less than what he said he was going to do. He had done it. Willie Myers summited Stone Mountain.